All right, recording started.
All right, if everybody's ready, we'll call the meeting to order. It's 6:35. Like we said, Charles is out of town, so I'm going to host today. And thanks, Mayor, for hosting the Zoom meeting. A couple of quick comments. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving and safe and had a good time. It sounds like the dinner at the clubhouse was a huge success. Keep hearing good things about it. I didn't have a chance to do the financial snapshot. I apologize. I kind of slacked on that. But one thing I want to ask Brent and maybe Mayor about is the financial statement. The tax section hasn't been there. The category for taxes, it's been just blank. I don't know if the financials come out after the tax report comes in. It's been like that for the past couple of months.
They come out at different times of the month, but they probably haven't come out for December.
Okay, it's been like that the past
Closer to the
times.
middle of the month.
I never remember doing that before. It's on the main statement of accounts, but you can check the deposits into the checking account to check taxes, and it looks like it was $23,374. Which a lot like last month is lower than our average. So hopefully that picks back up. And I would imagine so with the holiday season coming up. Just a few hours ago, Brent and I were in a conference call with Olson and Olson regarding Galveston Bay Brewing. It's not an agenda item, and so there's really not a whole lot to pass along. But we did kind of discuss some options that we may have for the easement, 2 or 3 different options. So I'm sure that'll be on next month's meeting to discuss further. That's all I have.
Johnny, is that still moving forward okay?
It seems to be moving forward. Not a lot of news from the brewery itself, but we kind of mainly did our part. We're just kind of waiting on the attorneys to give us the nuts and bolts of it so we can pass that along. And that's where we sit right now.
Go.
Item number 2, director comments. Like usual, I'll just kind of go around on my screen. Joe, do you have anything to add?
No, I'm good. I'll just wait for my agenda item.
Cool. Thomas?
There we go. The fiber internet, the reoccurring item. Okay, nothing has happened, and it's kind of on the shelf until probably February, March timeframe, when they know how much funding is going to be available. As it happens, after the election, all of the funding that at least IMG services had available, it's now down to 10% of what it was before. Probably people are, well, you can only speculate, but anyway, it is what it is. Center Point, Curtis Newberry has now gotten whoever she is, Carnesia. She's responsible for Clear Lake Shores. She's back at work, and I think he couldn't wait to hand the file back to her. So nothing has happened. Brent, I need to get with you and about the parking lot. If we have any surveys or anything like that available that we can share with Centerpoint, that will speed things up. Because it's probably going to be cheaper to go around the parking lot rather than to go underground. So at least we can give them those easements and whatnot. Yeah, so that saves them some time. They are working slower than the government. So let's just see. Then I like to apologize especially to Amanda. I didn't mind to. I guess the last time when we talked about that marketing plan, I got a bit too wound up on that 100 grand. I'm still for doing something, just not the 100 grand. So anyway, that's what I had.
Amanda?
Hey, y'all. Thank you for that, Thomas. Yeah, Charles and I are going to talk offline. I think we need to do something. We just need to find out what the right balance is and what that looks like. So he and I are going to try to sync hopefully before the Christmas holiday. So and the other thing is I just wanted to say thank you to our city council for supporting us and working with us on the Jor Road project. I know there's several new council members and they had to vote on that last week, and that was I think their second meeting. They're really their first full meeting, and so to jump in and make a big decision like that, Brent and Kurt, I understand that you guys really kind of laid everything out and explained kind of the history and the back information that of the Jor Road project to really help them make that decision. So just thanks to our council for supporting that and working with us on that, because I think it's obviously really going to be beneficial from an economic development standpoint. So that's all I have.
Well, it's Mike.
Yeah, just a quick update on the two projects I'm working on. One is a Soul Freak deck expansion that's been completed. Looks very nice. They had a concert the other day with a three-piece band. It was nice and roomy, spread out, and very well received. So that's done. And then the mural on Aspens, they're still not finished the work on the building. They still have two doors and a couple of windows to add on the Aspen Road side. And the palapa cover over the stairs, once that's finished, we'll put that out for rebid once they have the final canvas they have to work with. And that may be in December, not sure.
Have you talked to them, or they're still interested in a full mural on the building, even with the new?
So the owners? Yeah, Vincent?
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Will that come back to us for a vote, or did
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, as it stands right now, we tentatively approved a budget of $20,000. And so the next step was to put it out for bid, which I've done once, but we have to kind of change it up a little bit because the stairs have been put in, the building's been power washed already by the owner. So, and then we're going to request that the 4 or 5 artists that want to bid on it submit a drawing, a preliminary drawing of what they feel it should look like. And that'll give us something to like something more to go on as far as selecting, and we could always we'll see where the bids come in and we can go up or down on our funding, whatever is appropriate. But yes, it'll come back to us for a vote.
Before we move on, I want to kind of mirror Thomas's comment to Amanda about the marketing campaign. And it just since our last meeting, it seems like I've been hearing more and more in news articles, radio, et cetera, about how a lot of retail chains and restaurants and things of that nature are gearing up for, all of this to be over. So I think in some capacity, we absolutely should do something. It's just really unfortunate that our cash flow unexpectedly took a turn, but I think that's going to be very important, and we should look into that. Anyone else? Next, item number 3, unscheduled visitors. Mayor, I guess you're the only one. Do you have anything to add? If you're there.
Yeah, I'm here. My only thing is just a concern with while before we were doing the mural on the Aspens, is that the right thing to still move forward with now having all the covered area out there in front of it? So is it better just to paint it some color and offer them some assistance with that? That's all I have.
Well, Mayor, I'll make a comment on that. It's actually a little bit cleaner than it was before. He did add the palapa covering, but the railings now are sailboat halyard wires. So they're nice and clean and visible. And it's going to end up being up to the artist how they can deal with it. So we'll have some ideas before we have to vote. And it's going to be a little more difficult than it was before, but we'll see what they come up with.
And I'm fine with that. I'm just speaking on behalf of council. They had some concerns with with the way things are changing. Is that the right image we want from the front of our entranceway to the into the island? Granted that the whole thing in Clear Lake Shores exists between at the intersection down there at Home Depot and all the way down to Watergate. So that was their concern. I'm just voicing their concern.
Not sure what they mean really. The idea was to make the mural representative of what the island has to offer, like, the sailboats, the lake, piers, natural stuff that we have. I mean, that's kind of the direction we've given the artist.
Right. I'm just we all need to work together and make sure it's what we all agree to the image for Clear Lake Shores. As things change, the whole persona of the town center has kind of gone away. In fact, we're going to have to put a agenda item to kind of wipe that away because we're not following that at all. And there's supposed to be a committee that governs that. And there was that went up for a vote, and we wanted to have the town center, but there was no financials behind it. And then the EDC is kind of spearheading that, but we have several different little violations here and there, and just like to understand the whole big scope of things and where do we want to be at the end of the day? What's it going to look like in 5 years, 10 years? What do we want?
Understand. I guess between now and the time we actually put it out for rebid, I'll need to know what to tell the artist. We have to give them some sort of direction.
I think the agenda item is whether or not we want to do that before we just assume. I mean, I guess if you guys have already done that, but if we have to rebid it, that's where I would suggest we start, rather than what to paint, to come back to this group and decide if that's what we want to do. And Mike, I encourage you to talk with some of the council members, because I have spoken with one of them who has the same concern that the mayor has expressed. So perhaps since this is your project, you might be able to better explain it.
And maybe we should have a group meeting, just make sure we're all on the same page, because I think we're all agree we want to do something good for the city, but we just all need to be on the same page, because we don't want something that goes the wrong direction for us.
I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay. Any other comments?
No, that's all I had. Thank you.
We'll move on to number 4, consent agenda. Everybody had a chance to look at those. We have a motion to approve the November 2020 financials, check registry, and minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right. Who was the second?
Me, Amanda.
All in favor?
Aye.
And all right, passes unanimously. Move along, item number 5, update on Drawer Road, right-of-way acquisition, road design and construction, Brent Spear.
Good evening, members of EDC and Mayor. As far as the update on Daniel Drawer Road, there has been a name change on it. Today, I did participate in the 100% design meeting. It was completed with Galveston County and the engineers that designed it and the engineers that facilitated it. So those changes are being implemented. They're operating within the right-of-way that the city is working with Mr. Gerard to acquire. I also spent time today with attorneys and exchanging some documents, but they've created what's called a simple fee purchase agreement, and those are being readied for the purchase of that land. I did have some changes on it, and they sent it back, and I had some additional changes that was overlooked, and hopefully we'll have that completed tomorrow. I also did speak with Mr. Gerard today, and one of the questions that we had on the design of the road was whether or not it needed fencing on both sides of the right-of-way, right-of-way to the east and the right-of-way to the west, help preserve the ability to keep livestock. And he said, yeah, that was a requirement. So that is being added to the final design. And that's all I have. We are moving toward having this completed this calendar year. So things are gaining traction and moving more quickly.
Brent, when you say having this completed, what do you mean? Do you mean the design phase of the project?
I'm sorry. No, have the right-of-way procured.
Got it.
Have the purchase of that land complete. I'm sorry.
Hey, Brent.
Yes, sir.
Do you think you could provide the images of the road design once they're complete, maybe for the next meeting? I'd like to see kind of what those images look like.
Sure, they're just drawings, so there's no renderings, but I can certainly get you that. It's not a problem.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Brett, when's payment to Mr. Jor, or has that been done?
That's what we're working towards with the simple fee purchase documents right now. So I would anticipate payment being made this month, in the next 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Great. Any other comments? All right, we'll move to item number 6, update on the status of the pedestrian crosswalk, Clear Lake Road in Aspen, Brett Spear.
Okay, on the pedestrian crosswalk, all the materials are on site. We received the poles and the mounting brackets for the pavement, and that was the first shipment, and the second shipment was the electronics and the signage. So we do have everything here. One of the things that we're working on is trying to improve line of sight on that intersection. It is a little bit crowded with the trees and the additional signage that's placed there. So if you haven't noticed, we have moved some of the signs to different locations, and as not to obscure, a flashing pedestrian walkway sign hopefully gets people's attention. The next phase is to go out there and start laying out where we think we need to put the bases for the poles. They're larger than I anticipated, but they are, they're commercial and they're sturdy. They're not the little poles that we originally looked at. And after we get those locations kind of identified, then I'm going to have utilities located on both sides of that corner to make sure we're not in conflict, and that may adjust our positioning. But it's relatively simple. After that's done, we need to core or dig down, cut the sidewalk, remove the pavers, and dig down, create just a cavern. And we've got special hardware that goes in there, and you pour concrete around it. It locks in place, and then you bolt everything to that. And since there is no electricity that's required, it will be solar powered. It'll run off of a 12-volt battery, and should be relatively maintenance free. I see a lot more solar powered signage as I become more aware of it. So it seemed to have good longevity, and that's where we're at.
How will that? how will that crosswalk be treated? In other words, will you have to stop every time at that crosswalk, or is it only when you see pedestrians, or there'll be a light that flashes and you have to stop? Or I'm kind of unclear how that's supposed to work.
Well, there's no stop sign there, so you don't have to stop every time, but state law requires you stop for people that are in the crosswalk, and it's a flashing yellow light, strobes that go in both directions of travel on Clear Lake Road, and hopefully that is an attention getter and makes people aware that there's a crosswalk there, and they need to be aware that they're coming up to something. So,
okay, because I think
there's
a little sign there now, right? That has kind of a stop sign looking.
There's a little pylon there, and that's a measure to put in the middle of the road, since it's not signalized, or it doesn't have the warning strobes and things there. That was added just as a extra level of identification.
Okay.
And a lot of people stop at that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Brent, one other question. Does the flashing yellow lights, are they constantly on, or is that when someone pushes a button because they want to cross?
There are ADA compliant buttons that meet all those standards, and when you push the button, they flash on a timer, and then they go out. I want to say it's either a 15-second or 30-second timer. May be selectable.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? All right, moving right along. Number 7, update on the status of the east parking lot lighting improvements. Brent.
Once again, I am awaiting some additional development with the Galveston Bay Brewing Company, but I think I'm going to move forward, contact the electrical design firm and explain what's going on, and see if this plan will work with the minor adjustment maybe in the future, if we can plan for that. The problem we have is in the original design, there's nothing there up into the west side of the Strawberry Fields building, and if the agreement's reached and the deck is built there, then there's a light pole right in the middle of that deck, and that's not exactly what we want to do. So I need to make sure that we can move forward with the other portions of that, and spoke with Johnny today about Johnny Boltinghouse today about that, and I think that might be something. Can reach out to them and see, can we still meet the standards of lighting this parking lot with either another head on a pole that's located further out, or located one side or the other. Where it's located right now in the plan is dead center of the building, and that would be in conflict with an entrance that they're planning on doing. So we do have a designed electrical plan and plan for the elevated power. However, it has not gone to bid yet because there's some unanswered questions.
Yeah, Brent, one thing I wanted to add, just do a secondary cursory check, is that I was over at Kima this weekend and I saw their new parking lot that they created 3 or 4 years ago. And if we're gonna have lights there, are the light poles like really, really tall? Because they really did a good job at getting some lights that are only like 15 feet off the ground, and they're very small in size with LED lighting. And we were talking about doing the shoebox boxes lights, and those could take up some aerial space, and may want to just take a look at those and see if we need to reduce ours a little bit.
Yeah, I can certainly look at that. We utilized some of the additional hardware and design elements that Don Milbauer had used in some developments, so he had some knowledge on it and done a lot of the background kind of tracking it down. So,
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
disagree.
look at that.
Just when you're looking at like a Walmart parking lot versus a
Yeah.
East parking lot that's much smaller, it might be something that we need a little bit lower profile.
okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry, go ahead.
the other thing is, and this was a consideration, is these are black sky, certified, so they shine down and out and illuminate and don't go up into the sky. So thought that was important for light pollution concerns.
I was gonna say, Brian, I don't remember seeing any options or what the lights themselves look like. I remember the photometric study diagram, but were those sent out examples of what the lights may look like?
They were on a tear sheet, and there was like 3 or 4 different options by size, but they were all like a bronze color. I'm sitting in a parking lot at a McDonald's right now, and their lights are similar, and I'm guessing that their poles are not they can't be 20 feet. They've got to be 15, 16, 18 feet tall, and they do a pretty good job of illumination. So,
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing the specs on those. Well, seeing the specs on those if you get a chance.
Yeah, if you don't mind sending that out, what we're kind of aiming for, or if there's 2 or 3 options in a 1-page PDF or something.
yeah, there are 2 or 3 different sizes of them, and it's just based on the area you have to illuminate, how big you go and how tall. But I can send that out.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Any other comments on the parking lot lighting? All right. Last item, number 8, update on the status of the 5-year palm tree plan. Joe.
Okay, so got with Susie, the arborist, and told her that we would be hiring her. I told we had a $6,000 budget, but I told her we had a $5,000 budget because I figured let's keep $1,000, back just in case something comes up and we would have some extra funds. She came back, and I sent you all her estimate, and it came back at $4,850. So she even saved us a few extra $100. So then Brent and I met with Susie, and we traveled around the island. We spent a good deal of time in the front of the island talking about the medules. Those are the real expensive palm trees in the front of the island, because that's one of our largest investments in palm trees. And so she pointed out, when you're over there next, take a look at the leaves, because you can see some of them are look healthy and green, and then there's a few of the medules that you can tell that the leaves don't, they're pale, they're not looking too good. So what she kind of discovered was that we're watering them too much. It's a desert palm, so they don't require as much watering. And so she's working with Brent to get the right watering, because that's critical. She even suggested that instead of having sprayers, because the sprayers can actually damage the tree, she was recommending more of a drip system for the palm trees. She even suggested that the rose bushes, it's almost maybe a conflict of interest, because we might have the wrong plants, because we need, maybe the plants need more water, but yet you got, the jewels that are more desert. So you probably need to find a nice balance there. We talked about, she's going to get quotes on adding palm trees for a 5-year plan. And so she's working on that. She's going to be working on identifying what palm trees we have. And Brent, do you remember how many trees you counted that we have? that we currently have?
Yeah, trying to keep up as you were speeding around on your golf cart. It was we were north of 160. Now that includes not just the tall trees that you consider as a palm tree, but also the smaller ones that haven't matured and popped up. So yeah, we had about 160 in the, I guess, the public areas. Some look more like shrubs right now, but they're still considered a palm. So.
Right. And so in her plan, she highly recommend that we diversify the types of palms that we have. That way, if we do get a virus or a bug that's hitting the palm trees, that it doesn't wipe out all the palm trees that we plant. And then she also recommended that you don't want just really tall palm trees, because then all you see is sticks. You want kind of different levels. So you see, different ferns, and it gives a nice presentation. So we're anxious to see what she comes up with. To take care of the medules, again, that's one of our big concerns. I sent y'all what she recommended on how to maintain them. Now, we'll have to, obviously the city maintains those plants, and we have a landscape firm that does that. So maybe it's a combination of working with Susie on what the landscape company should be doing to properly maintain the medjool palm trees. She even said that if they don't properly clean their tools, so if a palm has a virus or a bug, you can actually contaminate another tree by, if you're pruning the tree, you can actually be doing damage to the other trees. And that's kind of, so like she could probably work with our landscapers to make sure that they're not cross-contaminating by not cleaning their tools properly. I'm trying to think. There was she said that a lot of when we were looking at the palm trees, that you can see where they had used spikes on their feet to climb the palm trees, and she said that greatly damages the palm trees as well. So obviously we're going to try to instill some of the proper techniques on how to take care of palm trees and going forward. Brent, you got anything else to add?
No, you're very comprehensive with that. I know that I've witnessed when they prune, like in front of City Hall, and they cut back on a palm, that they use a ladder and then they get up so high and climb. But I haven't seen them go from the bottom up. And we did see some palms that looked like they were riddled by woodpeckers, but it was due to climbing. So I don't know if it's recent or old, but it's definitely something for longevity's sake we need to address.
So we ended our session with Susie, and we told her, of course, we wanted a 5-year plan on how we can add more palm trees around the island, give it a great tropical look. And so that's what she's going to come out with, is the 5-year plan. And we'll just hold off, until the next session and see what she's proposing, what the budget's going to look like, and we'll go from there.
Hey, Joe.
Yep.
We lost another palm tree today in the Merriman's yard right across the pond from me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's one of the real tall, thin ones. It's taller than their house. So it's got to be 30 feet or more. And when they were cutting down the top of it, it looked pretty rotten.
Yeah.
It came apart real easy.
Yeah, if you can, send me the address. So when Susie's out here, she's going to be going around the island and identifying what palms that we have. And then we can have her kind of take a look at it and find out.
It's gone. They cut the whole thing down today, all the way to the ground.
It's all right. All right. Well, at least give me the address, because she can still, they didn't dig it up, right? They didn't dig up the base, right?
Not sure. I didn't look.
Okay.
I
But if you
I
can give me an
get you that.
address, yeah, that appreciate that.
Did she mention at all if we can expect more of like what Mike's talking about back from, I know a lot of it stemmed from that freeze from a couple of years ago, and then they got a fungus, and it seems like we lost a bunch of them at once. Like, can we continue to see onesie twosies like that, or did she mention that at all? I'm
Well,
just curious.
she did mention, we can take preventive measurements, measures to help prevent damage. If you look at what I sent today, there's a palm maintenance schedule and checklist, as well as the plan for care. And again, I don't know if the city, I guess, would have to look at it, and would the city then budget if it's landscaping involved? I would assume I don't think that would fall under EDC, do you?
I wouldn't think so, no.
We can't do, EDC can't do.
No, it would,
No, can't do that.
yeah, it would be a city function.
Yeah, so with what she is proposing, then is that something that we submit to the city council, or how would we go forward if we want to adapt what she's recommending?
It would have to come to me first, this is Brent, and then it would go to city council. We'd have to look, I'd look at it and see if it's something that can be worked in and allocated from the budget. And if it can't, then I have to come up with a solution to try to fund that and get it in front of council for approval.
Okay, so you have those documents, they were sent to you today, so just review it, and then
What time did you send them?
I sent it about 2:30 today.
Yeah, I got it at 2:28.
Okay, I'll have to go, okay. I have to go back and look. I was in the office until 6:30 or almost 6:30.
I can resend it if you'd
I'll
like.
go back and check it.
Okay, just let me know.
It may be caught in my spam, so
Okay.
I can look. But thank you.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions about the palm trees? Or
No question, just a comment. Great job on this. I'll be honest, I was a little skeptical at first, but I think where we've landed, I feel really comfortable with, and I think it's going to be a great a thing for the island to kind of get that under control and managed. So kudos, good job.
thanks.
Yeah. Who knew palm trees were that complicated?
Right?
But one other thing, Joe, to add is that Susie has contacts in Arizona where they grow the palm trees, for a lot of them, and I guess that sales guy that she can maneuver through, and sometimes they have specials, and she's aware of that for us. But I think we were looking more at groupings, like small stands of palms. I think they weather better too. Like a small cluster of 3 weathers better than just a single one. And so she's aware of that. She's aware of our budgetary restrictions, and she's also aware that this is anticipated to be a continuing program of maintenance. So I think we've got her on the same page.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments?
Well, I'm surprised we have 160 trees on public land.
Yeah.
Adds up quick.
So.
All right. Well, if that's it, we will adjourn at 7:14.
Bye, y'all. Merry Christmas. Happy everything.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Merry Christmas, happy everything. That was pretty good, Amanda.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Happy vaccine.
Happy vaccine. Yep. Let us know if you got it, Mike.
I'm gonna find out December 17th.
All right.
And I either had it since September 1st or I'm gonna get it the next day.
All right. That's how the universe works. Y'all have a good one. Take it easy.
All right. Good night.
Bye-bye.